Welcome to my review of Gladiator 2. I watched the first original Gladiator just a week before Gladiator 2 for the first time ever. And I was left craving more fallout from Maximus' iconic victory and untimely death. Entering the Colosseum is Gladiator 2, essentially a 2 hour and 40-minute epilogue of the first film that kind of scratched that itch. But does the movie hold up on its own merits, or is it the cinematic equivalent of, can I copy your homework? Sure, just change it up just a little bit so it's not that obvious. Let's dive in. The plot echoes the first film, but with a fresh twist. While the original was laser focused on the epic beef between Maximus and Commodus, Gladiator 2 feels like someone said, what if the Avengers assembled in ancient Rome? Paul Mescal Lucius carries the slave turned gladiator torch, traumatized, overwhelmed, and holding a lot of rage. I think Paul Mescal is a great actor. I'm a fan of him of the past films and TV shows that I've seen him in. And I think in the quieter moments of this film, he absolutely shines, and that's his expertise. But I guess when it comes to giving rousing speeches, showing a spectrum of rage, he's just too calm, too subdued. I never got that testosterone feeling, that masculine feeling of wanting to jump into battle with him and risk my life, because obviously I would die in 2 seconds in Rome. But I did feel for his character, and I don't know if it was written that way on purpose or they didn't give him enough material or enough direction to get that feeling out of me. But let's be honest, stepping into Russell Crowe's sandals is a Herculean task. He was so magnetic in that first film, and while I think Paul Mescal is great overall in the film, and by the end of the film I really wanted to get in there for him, throughout I didn't, unfortunately. He just didn't have the gravitas or magnetism that Russell Crowe has as a main character. You can say that the shadow of
Are you not entertained?
was looming large. While Pedro Pascal, one of my favorite actors, doing it right now, I'd rather be home with my family right now vibe throughout the whole movie, which was inspired by Maximus in the beginning of the film. A lot of what he was doing in that film was like, I just go home to my wife and my kids. And Pedro Pascal Marcus really just wanted to go home to his wife. He was so tired of war, and his wife and everything with his relationship ties deeply into the plot as well. And I think Pedro Pascal did a great job bringing this character to life. So much so that I wish this movie was a two-hander lead and a co-lead instead of Marcus being a supporting character, because his complicated relationship with Rome and him having to listen to these two maniac emperors and wage war on places that he didn't feel comfortable with was very, very interesting. And I wish that was explored a little more. But Pedro does a great job overall with what he's giving. He's a rousing warrior in general that I could see really leading a battle. He did a great job with that. A loving husband and a man of the people. Somebody you can really get behind. But his character story was secondary to the greater story. And meanwhile, Joaquin Phoenix Commodus from the original film, his essence is hilariously split between two very insane and campy emperors. It was like Ridley Scott saw Succession and thought, what if Rome was unhinged? The twin emperors are campy, fun, and absolutely chaotic. They do something in the third act, well, one of them do something in the third act that I thought was the funniest crap I've seen all year, had me dying in the theater. The only problem is that they lack that gravitas and complexity you want in these historical epics for a villain. But this is fine, because the weight of the film is not on the protagonist and the antagonist only. It's spread thinly throughout everybody in the film, and Denzel Washington brings that gravitas. He kills it as Macrinus. He is devouring every scene. He devours his role like an all-you-can-scheme buffet, and he does a great job. Every time he's on the screen, it was like the movie got 10 plus charisma points.
My man.
He's operating on a different level than everyone else when it comes to acting. He understands his character so well. It doesn't feel like he's acting, kind of like how everyone else, you can kind of see them acting. And he does a great job breathing life into this mysterious, enigmatic character that I absolutely love. He puts an Oscar-worthy effort into this movie and elevates it overall. The shift of spreading all the responsibilities of the film on different types of characters makes a more busier affair, a more intricate story where multiple threads are running wild around until they're about to crash into each other like a bad rehearsed chariot race. While I miss the simplicity and the emotional heft, especially the emotional heft from the first one, this has a little bit of it, but it's nowhere close to the original Gladiator. I did really enjoy the chaotic backstabbing twists and turns and the intricacies of the storyline here. I think the story plot is more interesting here than it was in the original one, even though it lacks some of that emotional and the cinematic gravitas that film had. And not everything that happens in the movie is logical, but who needs logic when you have weird CGI sharks? Oh yes, those weird animals you saw in the trailer, let's talk about them. The action in this movie is Gladiator mayhem. Grand Colosseum battles, check. Historical accuracy, No, not at all, but who cares? Weird CGI monkeys, rhinos, and sharks? Absolutely. Is it ridiculous? 100%. But I loved it. I was hooting and hollering like a Roman peasant that saw a lion for the first time. I had a great time with all the action that involved the animals. Now, here's the thing. The movie loves callbacks. It's callbacks to the first original film a ton. It's embedded in the story and the plot of the movie. And sometimes it feels like it's cinematic equivalent of like, hey guys, you like this? You remember you liked this from the first one? Here it is kind of again, but with a twist and a little different. It's fun. It's epic. Some of the best action sequences that I've seen in a long time are in this film. But also it has the Force Awakens syndrome where it calls back to his predecessors so much you can't help but compare it to it. It almost feels like epic karaoke of a band that you really, really used to love and it's going over the greatest hits. But the movie escapes that just a tad bit. What saves it from that is the shift in focus. While the first movie was focused on Commodus and Maximus battling each other and their beliefs and everything, this movie spreads the wealth and is more using the characters as chess pieces to the overall theme of Rome falling and what's happening to the people and how all the political pieces are coming into play to this grand finale that we're leading to, which I think makes the movie stand on its own because, like I said, this movie feels like an epilogue. While a lot of people feels like Gladiator is a complete movie, I personally wanted more to see what would happen to Rome after his decision to kill Commodus and he dies. Who's in charge? And we get all these answers, and I think that they did a really good job of tying it all together. Final nitpick that I have about the film is the visuals. The movie is one of the most gorgeous looking movies of 2024. It looks amazing. There's going to be shots shown on Twitter, X, or whatever social media site you use these days that are I'm like, wow, that looks great. But the problem is that this film is a historical epic and it looks like it's shot in 2023. The graininess of film really helped the first Gladiator hold up and makes you feel like you're being transported to that time period. And that movie lacks that severely. Everything looks too clean. It makes it kind of feel like people are cosplaying like TikTokers in Roman getups and not actually there. No way bad as if they were wearing TikTok getups because the movie set design and everything looks fantastic, but it just looks too clean, glossy, and it doesn't really make you feel like you're being transported to the time period. Faults aside, Gladiator 2 is a ridiculous and entertaining good time at the theaters that knows exactly what it is. It's a popcorn bucket film with a Let's Play on it. And I enjoyed it a lot. The first one knew what it was too. It had some gravitas to it that made it an Oscar-worthy film, clearly. But it wasn't something that was super complicated or deep either. So I really like this as a continuation. I think it's a worthy sequel. It doesn't hold up to the gravitas of the first one, but I think that it improves on the first one in certain aspects in terms of better overall characters, action, and plot. It just misses some of that emotional heft that gets you really roused and emotional invested in the characters too, where you're brought to tears when one dies. So with that all said, I'm going to give Gladiator 2 a B. My question today is, what is your favorite sequel that came years after the original movie? Drop your answers down below and let me know, and you can watch one of my reviews right now.